All right, this is our service learning project for our servant leadership class 285, and we're team 6. My name is Dana Jacobson.
I'm Allison.
And I am Jordan Kelly. The service learning project started as 3 individuals, 2 organizations, and 1 group collaboration that separated us by 150 miles. Essentially, the responsibility of creating a collaborative service learning project seemed to be a pretty daunting task when we started this semester. Now, after we've seen some of the challenges that those we've served through our service learning project have faced, basically, it's been more of a mere inconvenience for ourselves than what we would have thought. The 2 groups that we chose to participate with were the Salvation Army in Cedar Rapids and then CFUM in Des Moines, Iowa. The Salvation Army is located at 1000 C Avenue in Cedar Rapids. It's located in a very nice area of Cedar Rapids, kind of a humble neighborhood that has multiple schools, churches, and other community organizations surrounding it. The mission of the Salvation Army is an international movement that's part of an evangelical part of the Universal Christian Church. Their message is based on the Bible, and the ministry is provided by the love of God. Their mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and meet the human needs in His name without any discrimination. Some of the opportunities that the Salvation Army has for volunteers are different worship opportunities, something you might be familiar with the Toys for Tots that typically pair up with like the U.S. Marines. Different recreational activities such as archery, youth activities like youth group, housing support, food assistance. They have a program called Pathways for Hope, some women's ministries, as well as senior services. They have some crafters that do different projects within the community. And they also provide emergency disaster services if your house would catch fire, if there's a natural disaster, or other things like that. The Salvation Army is largely funded. Over 70% of their operational budget comes from the Red Kettle campaign. You might see these at Walmart, some of your farm stores, Hy-Vee. They typically have volunteer bell ringers that ring the bell and try and sing Christmas carols, say Merry Christmas, or other different opportunities to encourage people to contribute to their campaign. The 2016 campaign goal was $805,000. As of today, which is 12/11 of 16, they have raised $291,000 and $291 and $18. So largely, they're well on their way to the goal as we approach the Christmas season. They expect those numbers to come up. Part of the volunteer service that I started was helping in the kitchen, helping them fight hunger. The Salvation Army provides free meals served Monday through Friday. They do a breakfast from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then they do lunch from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Part of their annual Thanksgiving dinner services help serve over 400 people within one day. In the food kitchen, it's open 5 days per week, and they serve 2 meals per day. On average, they usually come up with about 90 people per meal. So for the community of Cedar Rapids, they're providing greater than 900 meals per week. The photo that's provided here came from the Cedar Rapids Gazette photographer showing Tim Shaffar, the kitchen manager, helping create some of the stuffing mix and the huge Thanksgiving meal that's provided. One of the major things that I learned within the project for the service learning project was that those who come to the Salvation Army are very polite, well-mannered, and just have a very nice personality about them. They come in and they come from various different aspects. They may be someone who is homeless and doesn't have a place to cook, live, or stay dry. Or they may be somebody, as Tim the chef says, that is just trying to make ends meet. Maybe they have a home, but they can decide whether or not I can buy my gas for the week or I can buy groceries. So they're able to buy their gas to get to work as long as the Salvation Army helps them provide some of the meals and stuff. So learning that these individuals who essentially come from little to nothing can still keep great manners. They're still good people in the community. Has just been huge when they essentially come from a less fortunate background than what I have myself.
All right, and then Dana and I volunteered with CFUM, which stands for Children and Family Urban Movement. And we'll show you here. It is located on 1548 8th Street in Des Moines. CFUM's mission is to create a community that supports the potential of children, youth, and families through educational success, healthy living, and community engagement. And a little bit of history about it. In 1968, the Congregation of Trinity United Methodist Church started the Breakfast Club to serve residents of the Riverbend community. In 1992, CFUM was started to serve families living below the poverty line. And their overall focus was to provide access to healthy food and help with education. Today they do have several programs. They're all offered to elementary students who attend Moulton Elementary right across the street. They have the Breakfast Club. They have a Study Buddy program, Haven. They also have an Awesome Days program, which goes on during the summer for kids whose parents are at school, or kids whose parents are at work. And we volunteered at a couple different things. What I mainly worked with was the Haven. There are currently 65 enrolled children. It's after school from 3:20 to 5:30 p.m. and then it's followed by dinner that they provide to the entire community. They provide snacks, creative activities, hands-on learning clubs, and other structured events. In the picture on the left, you can see they have several rooms, and the children are divided into their grade level in the rooms, and then that's what they call the library in the hallway. So a lot of times when they get there, they start with their snack, and then from there they go and pick a book out from the library, and then they have 25 minutes of reading, just quiet reading. And then they kind of do other things that could be crafts or movies. And then on the right, one of the days I actually volunteered, they were doing a scarf, mitten, and hat drive. This is a table totally filled with hats. I would say each pile has probably a dozen hats. The children got to come downstairs and pick a hat out if they wanted a hat. If they already had a hat, it was okay. They didn't need to take one. But if they certainly needed one, or if they knew of their sibling needed one. So we actually went through about half the hats, gloves, and scarves that they had laid out on the tables. And the other program that I volunteered with was their Thanksgiving dinner preparation. It was the day before Thanksgiving this year on a Wednesday. It is noted as being the busiest and most exciting day of the year by several staff members and other volunteers. They have calculated that they serve around 300 people per year. That varies year to year, but around 300. And it's a family-style sit-down meal, and it requires a lot of donations and volunteers. And there were several other companies that were there volunteering as well. I got to actually help in the kitchen and help prepare several of the items. As you can see, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and dressing.
And so I volunteered for the Breakfast Club, also a CFUM program. And they serve to about 80 elementary school kids before school. I estimated at one point there might have been more than that and less than that on some days. It fluctuated from day to day, but it was very interesting to see the amount of kids and the excitement that they had every morning. And during the summer, they serve about 60 elementary kids during that time. And they said on their website that a hungry child does not learn. So I think that's just a really great way of making sure that the kids get a nutritional breakfast before they go to school each morning. And not only do they get breakfast, but they get homework help, and they get books to read, they play games, and do a lot of coloring and a bunch more. And so these are our references that we used to put the project together. And one thing that I think we all seemed to notice throughout our individual projects that came together as one was that just of humility. I feel like noticing that these people realize where they've come from, and we don't realize where they've come from. We may not understand their story, but they just come forward with such a humbleness. And I think that was just really interesting to see. And as a volunteer, it would be interesting to be able to learn that humility as well and be able to give them that humbleness back to them as we serve them. And so in conclusion, thinking about the core values that Mercy College has, that they're very specific, but they seem to touch on every aspect of life. And it was really easy to start applying and thinking about these values as we started our project. First, we needed to research our community partners for the knowledge of what we needed and how we could serve them. And then reverence, integrity, and compassion seemed to go hand in hand. It was important to keep in mind an open mind and accept all the different people that we met, and that it's crucial to understand and respect where they're coming from, and that every person deserves help and empathy. As Lowney put it in his book, Heroic Living, treat yourself with integrity, your work with excellence, and those who you meet with reverence. As we went further into our volunteering hours and deeper into the course material, we realized that excellence isn't something that is exactly expected of you, but it's an expectation that you set for yourself. Thanks.